All right, this is Todd. This is my very first podcast. I wanted to make a good episode on this. I don't know what I'm doing, and nor do I care. We're gonna just be talking. I'm gonna pretty much introduce myself and my story and what made me even want to start doing this in the first place. So, who I am? My name is Tyon Cook. Y'all gonna have a hard time saying that name. It's Tyon Cook, Tyoine. It might be on my channel. It might not be. I plan on uploading this on YouTube and some other platforms, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Like I said, it's my first time. We're gonna figure it out. And where I'm from is I'm just from Arkansas. I'm from El Dorado, Arkansas. It's a small town. Ain't really much to do much research on that. You ain't gonna find nothing there. Now, with that being said, if I'm looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes. I wanted to make that very clear, make that very transparent. So let's continue. So to really start off my story, I want y'all to know that everybody has been through trauma. Everybody has been through something that wasn't good for them. For me, I had trauma. I had depression. I had ways to escape reality, and all of it wasn't really the healthiest way to go about it. So with the trauma, I dealt with abuse growing up, and it's nobody's fault. I'm not placing blame on nobody. It's just the way the system had worked out in our favor. Life was not easy for us. So with that being said, the trauma I've dealt with was more on the abusive side, but it wasn't like a physical abuse. It was more of a mental and emotional abuse that I dealt with my stepdad, and I don't really want to out him out as somebody who's a vet. He's a vet that went through all these things. He actually went through war. He was in was it Iran or Iraq? It was Iraq. He went to Iraq, and like I said, it's not his fault that he'd been through what he'd been through. He became an alcoholic. He done seen plenty of people in the battlefield pass away in the most treacherous way possible, and just the way my lifestyle is now, I serve the military. I understand what he's going through. I have PTSD myself because that is what he has. He has PTSD, and he wasn't even able to really resolve that issue with the VA. But that's neither here nor there. It's just the fact that there was a lot that happened back in my day where it inflicted a lot of pain on an emotional and mental side, and the physical aspect wasn't really that severe, at least to me. I may have not looked at it that way because I've always been a strong physical guy. Even a kid, I was always physically strong, so I didn't think of that as abuse. So he didn't really do much in terms of touching us. But just on the mental and emotional side, hey, it happens. And, I love that man. But yeah, I love that man truly. And I don't have no issues with him at all. He's done so much for me. And all I can really say is I'm grateful to have him in my life. He stepped up when my dad was not able to. And it's not my dad's fault, which, I mean, kind of it is. But my dad got taken by the system, had nothing with him being a good father. He always was a good fatherly figure for me. He always did his best with the little that he had. So I still love him to this day as well. I love both of them. And I can't really sit here and say that they haven't done anything for me because I've been raised by good parents, although it was rough during that time. But now, they're doing great, and I love them both. And then the depression that I had, obviously, it came around from him, my stepdad. Obviously, I had to find a way to escape home all the time. I went to my granny house every single time to try to escape being there. My mom wasn't around, and it's not her fault. She was at work all the time. And, I think my stepdad at the time just got off work. So like he just, came out the military, and after dealing with everything he felt like or dealt with, it all came back to us. So there was not much that could be done. But the depression it was bad. I didn't know I had severe depression. I didn't even know depression was a thing at the time. I just knew I was sad every day. I slept at school. I played video games, and that was my coping mechanism, my way to escape. And it was just one of the hardest things to have to deal with, is constantly having to deal with running away from reality. I felt like a weakling. I felt lame for doing something like that. And I wanted to be better. But then I've also escaped through porn, and I had a porn addiction, a very bad one at that. Like I would get at it every single chance I had to try to feel that dopamine rush, because dopamine, we all know what it is. It's a receptor in our brain that makes us feel happy. And I wanted to feel happy. I wanted to do anything I can to feel happy again. And so that's what I did. I went to porn. I watched it. Even when I got tired of it, I still tried to force it in order to make myself feel happy again. That's all I really tried to do. And it just became so bad that it did eventually become an addiction, even when I didn't even want to do it, because I grew up as a Christian man in church. I go to church every Sunday and Wednesday as a kid. That's my life. I went to church since I was a baby all the way up till I was 18 to 19. And I don't go to church as often as I used to now, but it has nothing to do with me not wanting to go to church, and more like I don't know what church to find that would fit me, because the type of church that I went to, I grew up in that establishment. That's just the type of environment that I like. And obviously I went to a Baptist church. Well, I can't say obviously, but I'm black. So I went to a Baptist church, and that's what I love. The energy there was something that I just grew up with, really. I can't even say that I resonate with. That's just the energy that I love. I'm always into music. I'm always into dancing. And I was in the choir, and I was also, doing dancing, like praise dances and all that good stuff. So then over time, after dealing with all that, because I dealt with that from the ages of 13 to 18, where it just wasn't the best. I wanted to be different. I had long hair like this. That's the only reason I'm growing my hair out now, because I don't have that trauma that I used to feel back in the day. I'm changed. And I was also in the military, but I'll get to that. But with the heartbreak is something I dealt with in college. In college, and this is the part that I really would not like to speak on, but I'm going to be 100% open. I don't care. I was not the best friend at all in college. If anything, I'm probably the worst friend in the world. I did my boy dirty, because this is my boy's ex at the time. And I've been told some people about it, but now I'm just going to speak up about it. I don't really care. I'm not that guy no more. I know I would never do that type of shit again. And even if it was to happen to me, even if one of my friends was to try to be with one of my exes or my girl, for one, I wouldn't trust them as a friend, but also I would see it as karma for what I did. And even though I was green, I was a virgin, I had no idea what the hell I was doing back in the day. So I didn't even know how to actually please a woman. And even though it was all a setup in a way, I do not hold any hatred towards anybody. And I would understand if hatred was held against me. I was not the best. I was not the brightest. Essentially what that story is, my boy got into it with his girl because she was dealing with another guy. I'm not going to speak too ill about the situation in terms of them, because it has nothing to do with them and everything to do with me. This guy friend of hers was trying to convince me to be with her, that, oh, we got something going, some type of chemistry. When at the time, all I saw were her as a friend. I saw nothing more, nothing less. But because I was so green and experienced, and I know that's not an excuse, but truly I was beyond an experience, especially dealing with what I dealt with in high school. I never had a girlfriend. I never thought of trying to get a girlfriend in college. All I thought was succeeding. I wanted to be successful so I could take care of my mom, so she could stop overworking, so she could stop doing all that stuff that just wasn't good for her. And I succumbed to what they was trying to offer in terms of a potential relationship. I didn't see much benefit in it at the time, but at the same time, I was like, you know what? Why not? I've never had a connection with nobody. I've never been happy with anybody. Maybe this will make me feel happy. Maybe this will help change me. Hey, maybe this will help mold me. I see everybody else are able to talk about certain things. Heck, sex was one of the biggest things they talk about, and I could never relate because I didn't even know what to say. I never had done that. So it was very hard for me. And I was very transparent at the time that I was a virgin. Everybody knew I was. But that doesn't mean nothing when you're betraying the friend who, that's his ex, and I'm trying to get with her. Now, granted, there was a quote unquote relationship there, but I don't believe it was a real relationship looking back at it, because for one, it was long distance. She was never around, and she never really even loved me in the first place. That feeling that I had for her, where I fell in love and I became needy and I needed her attention every day, where we FaceTimed every day, that just wasn't even real in the first place. And I do not fault her for never really catching feelings, because I wasn't that type of guy that any woman would want to be with in the first place. I'll tell you right now, I was butt shit ugly. To me, at least, I was. And obviously, this girl that I'm actually talking to right now, I really like her a lot. She cool peoples. She said she gonna watch this video and make fun of me. So I'm really downplaying our relationship, I guess you could say. I'm not trying to. It's just I have a hard time projecting that out loud. But I do actually like her a lot, and she said that I looked cute when I was younger. Now, mind you, me being the person that I was when I saw that image was just the past me, someone that I did not really like, something that just that shouldn't have existed, something that wasn't confident, something that just I didn't think I was an attractive guy back then. And so when she said I was cute in the text messages, I was baffled, to say the least. I was baffled. But that's neither here nor there. And then she just texted me she gonna beat me the fuck up. That's the type of conversations we be having. But it's whatever. I do regret how I handled things. I regret how I allowed myself to become friends with her even after I was still in love with her and she broke up with me after she done did a lot of other things. But I'm not here to shit on her. She is a grown woman at the end of the day. She made her decisions, and her decisions are, in my opinion, valid based on the experiences that I've gained after that. Everything she's done is valid. Everything she's done is just in the remote space of what a woman would typically do, especially with a guy that she just don't have no feelings for. Like if I was her, I probably would have done the same thing. She didn't know how to handle it, and she tried her best to actually mitigate the harm that was inflicted upon me. But that's because I was weak minded. That's because I didn't know what the hell was going on. It was my lack of experience that led to how everything played out in the first place. So I never fought her. If anything, I applaud her for making the right decisions the best she could. Now, with that being said, with all that happening and the reason I ended up joining the military, there was a point in time where I just went through depression again after the heartbreak. I've never experienced a heartbreak that severe. And so during that point in time, I didn't go to college. This is my sophomore year of college, and I was not going to class because of how everything played out. Now, mind you, I was trying to help her, and she's right. I should never make the decision of skipping my classes or not doing a good job with my homework to make sure she was okay, because that's her life and it's my life. Whatever she does with her life is what she do. And she's truly 100% right. And what I do with my life is what I should be focusing on in the first place. But I took it upon myself, never been asked to do it, to help her. And she's right. What J. Cole say, don't save her if she don't want to be saved. That is a true statement. And I tried to save her, which led to my downfall of me not going to class in my freshman year, not going to class in my sophomore year when she ended it, and led to me being more depressed. And I just didn't even go to class at all. I didn't do nothing. I ended up dropping out of college, and out of the fear of my mom finding out that I wasn't going to class, after we had a sparking conversation, a heated conversation, you could say, I said, I'll join the military. Why not? I'm not scared. And at the time I tried to join the Air Force. I got bamboozled when I went up to the recruiting office. He said, I got you. We're going to send you to the dang Air Force. And bada bing, bada boom, I'm going to the damn Army. It happened. Yeah, I didn't, like I said, I had no experience. I had no idea of what I was getting myself into. I never did prior research to anything about the Army. And I wish I did, but it's whatever. But I don't regret joining the Army, because during that experience, I've met a lot of good friends that I'm still great friends with to this day. They are my brothers and my sisters, and I love them dearly. So if anything, I'm grateful for doing that, because with the Army, it gave me true structure, a true life of things that I never had when I was just growing up. Things that never taught me how to do things by myself. I never done things by myself. I never made decisions for myself. I was so used to always having decisions made by either my stepdad or my mom, and I could not really truly make a decision of my own. I didn't know what I want. I didn't have a true identity of who I was until I joined the Army. The Army is what helped me build that structure and identify myself. It rebuilt who I was in terms of my identity. I knew who I wanted to become. I knew that over time, I wanted to be something better. I wanted to build some type of business. I wanted to do something when I got out the military, because I already knew the military was not for me. I knew I wasn't going to stay in. Excuse me. I knew I wasn't going to stay in the Army because I don't like being told what to do. And despite you hearing that, like, I always relied on my mom and my stepdad to tell me what to do. I never truly liked being told what to do by them in the first place. I just did it because that's what I was used to. That's what I was programmed to do. And so when I was told by the Army of what to do, it felt good at the time. But then over time, I'm like, I can't keep dealing with the hypocrites. I can't keep dealing with the the orders that doesn't even make sense. And if you know, if you're in the army, you know common sense isn't so common in the army. It's one of the worst things you could ever deal with in terms of the army. So yeah, I just tried my best to move past all that. I tried my best to be happy. I tried my best to find my inner self and my inner peace and my inner identity. And that's when I joined the army. It was probably like a year or two after I joined that I decided to just go to the gym. And I'm pretty sure it was a year after because I already deployed as soon as I went to my first unit. I tried to work out there. It didn't work out due to COVID. And I don't know if I can speak on COVID, but I'm gonna stop saying it just in case. We all know what happened there in that period. And at that point in time, I wasn't able to work out. So I said, I'm going to work out when I get back. But mind you, during that entire period of time that I was out there on deployment, I did constant research on what I did wrong in my past relationship. This is probably 3 or 2 years after dealing with all that. And that's how you know I never truly moved on. I never did. The anxiety was there. I always had anxiety growing up due to everything that was going on. And so my anxiety with women and my social anxiety just skyrocketed, especially after the incident of my ex. And I tried to do the best I can in terms of figuring out what I wanted to do with my life. I couldn't really figure it out. I'll tell you right now, it was not easy. But over time, I did do this one simple thing. I did this one simple thing by going to the gym after learning so much that I was a needy person. I learned what I did wrong in the relationship. I learned what next steps I needed to take in order to become the best version of me. And I learned through the red pill community. I don't really consider myself red pill. I consider myself a truist. Or is it truist? Truly? Yeah, we're just gonna say truist, right? I'm all about the truth. I'm all about seeking the truth. Anything that has anything to realist. I'm a realist. That's what I am. I'm a realist. So I'm always about the truth. I seek the truth, and that's all I care about. I don't care about feelings when the truth is right there in your face because reality hit me hard multiple times growing up. Multiple dang times growing up. So it's one of those things where you just have to put a seatbelt on and accept life. Take the ride, take the drive. That's all you can really do. And that's all I did ever since then. Ever since that heartbreak, and I had to sit down and succumb to my depression, I had to learn what was the truth of life. What was reality? What is my truth? What is all that? So after I learned everything from the red pill community, I had that thing called red pill rage, where you learn the truth about reality. And that really turned me into the red pill man that I was. I was never alpha. I can tell you that right now. I was never an alpha guy. I was just a beta with a red pill mentality. Someone that always wanted to learn the truth. And so I did everything that I can to learn the truth. I became something that I didn't really feel proud of due to the fact that I was a Christian man. I was raised in church. So doing things outside of my scope of comfortability was just out of sight, out of mind type of deal. Because the thing is, I've always believed in getting married before I had sex. That was always my belief. And eventually that broke because I was trying to figure myself out in this world that we call Earth. And so over time, I was able to rebuild my identity, but it definitely took a long time. It took a scope of 5 years in the Army for me to finally come in terms of who I am. And even though I was working out, it definitely took a minute for me to actually learn everything on the mental side in order to become who I am today. But with all that to be said, I will say the Army helped me out a lot. It's something that I'm truly grateful for. I would never truly shit on the Army. I do tell people don't join the Army, and I'm still going to stand on that point. But even if they do join the Army, it's better for them to join the Army when they're at the rock bottom rather than just sitting here in the streets doing nothing. I try to recommend the Air Force, even though I've never been in the Air Force. I've heard so many good things about the Air Force, and I would still recommend the Air Force out of anything else. But if you do need to join the Army, I will highly recommend that as well, because at the end of the day, like I said, it's better to do something than nothing. But basically, from what I built from all this was just a man of pure steel, a man of belief, a man of that don't care of people's opinions. Even right now, I've got this ghetto setup, and I don't care about anybody's opinion about me, because at the end of the day, I'm going to speak my truth, and my truth is this. And if you want to listen, you can. If you don't, it's okay. You can leave. Hell, y'all probably not even watching this video now. This is episode 1. Who's to say this shit gonna be any good? It ain't gonna be good. But if you can actually resonate with most of this story, then I guess you'll stick around. But I don't know. I feel like my story is unique, but at the same time, I know in reality, and that's the truth is everybody has some similarities in their story, regardless of what happens. And even though one truth may not be your truth, another truth could still be your truth. We can all relate to something on here, and there's too many people in the world to not relate to one thing at the very least. Henceforth, why I don't sit here and have that mentality that I used to have, that nobody can relate to me. Nobody can understand me. Nobody gone through what I've gone through. Over time, I've seen so many posts where I relate to that. And I'm like, wow, they relate to this. I thought I was the only one. Found out everybody has that. So even though my identity is built different from someone else's, we can all still relate to something together. So with that being said, I felt like what I built was a man of steel, a man that is big, a man that is confident in his own body, his skin. I look good, booty, bone, naked. And I was glad and proud of it. And so, with all that being said, the reason I created the Reboot, that is one of my programs, right? This is a program where I help train men that has gone through things, especially men as of now, because I am 27 years old. I'm getting older. My body is hurting. And I had to learn how to do things in order to make sure my body doesn't hurt as much, because the army has definitely messed up my body. It's banged it up badly. And the men that or at least it's for the men that I train. I train anybody, because I do have men and women in my program. But the thing is, I reach out to the men that can relate to the fact that their bodies are getting older, their bodies are not the same. So I always reach out to them. I reach out to the men that are in their 30s to 40s that's dealing with heartbreaks and BS and disrespect from their wives or spouse or significant other, because I've dealt with disrespect from my ex. She didn't mean to be disrespectful, but because she lost the respect for me and who I was, that respect was thrown out the window. So yes, I reach out to the men that are in their 30s or 40s who has no respect and no confidence in themselves, and they want to redeem that confidence. They want to regain that confidence. They want to feel like who they used to be. Now they're just in their former shell of their belief. They avoid the mirrors because they don't like to they don't like to look themselves in the mirror. And I don't want anybody to have to go through the same thing that I've been through. And yes, I was a kid. Yes, I was younger. Yes, I was a teenager. But it all applies in life, because I've learned over time, even men in their 50s and 60s, they don't know what to do, especially when it's their first wife or their first girlfriend or anything like that. They didn't learn anything. They didn't have to deal with severe depression or heartbreaks from their loved one, because their loved one was there for them the entire time. But the thing is, when you let yourself go, when you get out of shape, you're not the man that she fell in love with in the first place. If you were someone that was always in great shape in high school, then how can you sit here and try to be this man still? You are not the same guy. You have to stay in shape. I understand that the truth hurts when people say you're shallow for liking somebody on the physical aspect. Guess what? I am shallow. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Are you going to sit down and mope around and be depressed that this person is shallow, that your wife or ex-girlfriend is shallow? Or are you going to actually make a change and realize that the world is shallow? We are all shallow people. We live in a world of sin. So what do you expect? Do you expect people to just confide by your beliefs? We're not going to sit here and act like our beliefs is the truth, is the key. Because at the end of the day, the majority makes the rule. So in generality, it's majority. And you have to understand that the generality is the truth. We can't talk about exceptions. We can't talk about the sums, but you can find the sums and the exceptions. You just have to learn how to do that. There are always going to be exceptions in women. There's always going to be exceptions in significant others. You got to learn how to find them. And so I learned how to find them. I learned how to move on from what I've been through. And that is also why I created this program, to help men who's been through depression to get into their fitness journey, to learn how to elevate themselves in order to get bigger, because I am an online fitness coach and I want to help men who's been through the same thing that I've been through. I want to help elevate them on a mental note while also simultaneously growing them and helping their bodies grow and helping them feel confident in their skin again. That is why I created the Reboot. And so if you want to join that program, feel free to just follow along with me. Feel free to subscribe to this YouTube channel if you want to. Um, But if you're a man that's struggling, a man that's in your 30s or 40s who feels stiff and wants to feel confident again and not have to live in the gym, because I understand that you may be a busy man. If you're a busy man in your 30s or 40s and you need that help and that guidance, just DM me ready. DM me ready on either Instagram, YouTube. I know YouTube has a way to where you can message people now, but if you need a way to message me on Instagram, my name's the same on all platforms, _cookie. It's the channel. You'll see it either which way. I want to be able to help you. And I don't know if you'll want the help. You don't really need to, reach out to me if you don't want my help. It's fine. I'm not going to sit here and force it. But that's just me asking if you want the help. If you want the help, I'll do what I can to actually help out. As I said, this is just my first podcast. It might be a little bit too long. I don't even know if anybody's going to actually listen to it all the way through. And this is just my story, and this is my truth. My truth is that I've been through a lot, and I have so many more stories. So I probably will be talking more about them in the next podcast episodes that I have. And this video is probably going to be trash. It probably will truly be trash, but I plan on making it more polished. I plan on learning more. I plan on getting a better mic, a better setup, because this is not it. But I tried. But either which way, I hope you enjoyed that story, or at least sympathize with some of it, because I know the truth is we all sympathize one way or another with one another. And I truly hope that you're blessed and not having to deal with a lot of things that I've dealt with. Because honestly, I probably hope that this story doesn't resonate with somebody. If anything, if you dealt with any of the things that I dealt with, I don't really wish any of the things that I dealt with to somebody else. So to each their own, but I hope you stay blessed.